Alright, good afternoon, everybody. We are in the Wisconsin Dells area. It's northwest of Madison. Give this a minute to come up to speed. We are in the Wisconsin Dells area. It's northwest of Madison. Alright, so we do have a tornado watch in effect for southern and central Wisconsin. Alright, so we are just off of 94. We've got a slight risk for severe weather today in Wisconsin, 5% tornado risk. There's also an enhanced risk for severe weather with an emphasis on wind down there in the Texas Panhandle. Pretty much the entire central and southern portion of Wisconsin is under a tornado watch. Nothing is happening yet, so we're going to sit here for a little bit and see what happens. Looks like we may have some capping in place yet. Convective inhibition. Maybe. The clouds look a little bland. Not seeing an agitated cumulus field or anything develop yet. It's hot. Let's see, the radar omega unit is, the cyclone port is measuring 84.7 degrees with a dew point of 70.3. It puts the humidity at like 65%. It's a storm just off to our northeast. It's starting to develop. It might be something that maybe we should go after, just for the sake of nothing else is happening. So we might just do that. Otherwise, it's pretty uneventful so far, but I wanted to get the stream going. The severe weather risk today is somewhat low. Sit here for a little bit and see what happens. At least for Wisconsin. Overall, it's relatively low. There is a chance that we could see some pretty large hail. The tornado watch did notate, I believe, up to tennis ball size hail, which is, of course, pretty large, especially for this area. But thank you to everybody who has been watching. We are live in the Radar Omega app as well today. I'm just going through a little bit of model data right now. I expect we would at least get some sort of a halfway decent storm here to work with, but still watching that one. There's a small cell. It's mostly showing up on echo tops. It's about a half an hour to our northeast, but it's really struggling. That's why I think we have some capping issues. see here. We should have an updated SPC outlook coming out here in just a moment. Again, that tornado watch is in effect, I think, until 10 p.m. It covers most of the state of Wisconsin. The only portion of the state that it does not cover is the northwest half, or northwest quadrant. Yeah, it is very hot. We will have more live storm chasing tomorrow, both in the app and on YouTube. The intention is to chase western Minnesota.
Ripley, Ohio. Set current vertical wind profile from La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Western Minnesota tomorrow. Eastern Dakotas. I'm going to be getting new tires in Rapid City, so hopefully we can swing that in there too. And then Thursday, it looks like we've got a bigger risk, that enhanced risk for severe weather already on Thursday. Emphasis on possible hail, wind, and a tornado threat for portions of the eastern Dakotas. Maybe even northeast Nebraska. I'm going to go ahead and get this sent out as a tweet. One of those low-end days, but it's tough to not be out here because it's definitely an existing tornado threat. So it looks like the latest SPC outlook is mostly unchanged. Here's what changed to the last update. Only minor changes were made to the previous convective outlook. They are listed as follows. Removed the low tornado probabilities near the immediate Wisconsin lake shore of Lake Michigan. Adjusted significant hail probabilities to be removed from the immediate coast. Added a 5% tornado probability near the Texas Big Bend region. A very moist air mass and adequate deep layer shear for supercells, at least in the early Gulf. Mostly unchanged.
Weather. At this time, we have a weather watch 197. It's active for the western part of the state. We are currently going to put on a standby net on this frequency in case something does come up in the near future here. Right now, we'll take any logins, sign-ins from any observers, any relay stations out there who wish to check in with the Sullivan weather. This is WX9MKX.
That storm that was just off to our northeast is, I guess it wasn't a storm, it was more of a rain shower. It's definitely unimpressive. It's falling apart again. So we've definitely got some convective inhibition or some capping issues keeping these storms from forming right now. That will likely erode here over the next couple of hours. This is kind of the boring part of storm chasing. Very humid and warm air mass, relatively unstable air mass is in place here across central, southern, and eastern Wisconsin, northeastern Wisconsin, that is. I was kind of expecting some sort of persistent updraft at this point, so we would have a target, but it doesn't look like it quite yet. I do think that tomorrow overall has a little bit greater severe weather chance. Thursday, of course, has a much greater severe weather chance. Very large enhanced risk on Thursday. It stretches from northeast Nebraska all the way up to the Canadian border. We'll probably move out of town here shortly. Let's go sit by the interstate just in case something does pop up. We don't have to deal with getting through traffic. Traffic's going to start picking up around here pretty soon, probably. I do have video from the Ford City, and I don't know why everybody's calling it the Crowell tornado. It was definitely the Ford City tornado. It was like a mile from there. Ford City, Texas tornado the other day that we drove into. That is up on the YouTube page, so you can check that out. Won't be seeing anything like that today. Man, it is very uneventful so far. I would expect here within a couple of minutes to see something happen. Like I said, the clouds are a little bit bland looking. We've got kind of a stratus look to them. Indicates it might be a little bit of a stable layer. Let me check satellite real quick. Visible satellite. It looks like there's kind of like a stratus cloud deck stretching from Cedar Rapids, Iowa through Dubuque, Iowa. Up toward Madison. Behind that, there is kind of a cumulus field. little bit of clearing also. I'm kind of wondering if we're going to end up with a split target area here. Check mesoanalysis real quick. Moisture convergence. A lot of surface-based cape in southwest Wisconsin. Even northeast Iowa's got a surface-based cape bullseye on mesoanalysis. Definitely kind of a tough forecast today. But we'll just sit here for a while, I guess. Nothing else to do. Can't just drive around in circles. That's boring. The HRRR, which we disregard a lot of convective allowing models this close to an event. It's kind of silly to use them when we have surface observations. Does show something convecting in northeast Iowa and then moving through the area. So we need to watch northeast Iowa possibly for development as well. So, apologize for the boredom, but it should get a little more exciting here shortly. Thanks everybody, of course, last night for the super chats and all that. Those do support the channel. I wanted to say thanks. I don't remember if I said anything last night. But last night was a little bit uneventful. We probably would have had a more eventful setup had the those storms not crowded together like that. If those updrafts wouldn't have had to compete with each other, we could have been looking at possibly a couple of tornadoes.
WB9FDZ repeater. Tonight, Aries Racing meeting at 7.
Let's see, we are at 84 degrees and a 70 degree dew point here. So we definitely have a moist air mass in effect. Yeah, Thursday will probably be a pretty eventful day. Eastern Dakotas, western Minnesota. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of tornadoes that day. Big hail, strong wind. But tomorrow looks like it could be a noteworthy day. Of course, we'll be live streaming tomorrow. I think we'll probably be somewhere in extreme western Minnesota. The greatest tornado threat would be anywhere that's under a tornado watch right now. Southern Wisconsin, central Wisconsin, basically anywhere in Wisconsin except that northwest portion. Yeah, still looking a little bit bland. Echo tops are showing that storm that was off to our, well, more like rain shower that was off to our northeast is trying to build up again. I probably need to look at that off a different radar site. It's probably not worth going after though. I think anything that develops is going to start to our southwest. I'm just not confident enough in it to go down toward Dubuque or anything like that. Trying to keep all options open. Somebody else asking for use of a video, not happening. And somebody angrily messaging our Facebook page saying that we're not storm chasing in Wisconsin, even though I'm sitting in Wisconsin right now. Love the passive aggressive type. Okay, so yeah, I don't think that we're gonna want to go after that little rain shower. That's just gonna end up being way far east. It was really kind of, well, I'm still expecting something to develop maybe in the Richland Center area, somewhere southeast of La Crosse. Yeah, we're in the Dells right now, just sitting here watching. It's not too bad up here right now because it's still out of season. It's the end of May when everything opens up here. So all the hotels and stuff are shut down. See, plenty of places to park. There's a big freaking bird. We might just take a drive around here. I need to find something to eat anyway. But once again, thanks everybody for watching. I see we have like 800 people watching and absolutely nothing is going on. So that's always appreciated. That's very rewarding to see that people at least enjoy the content. It's extremely boring right now and we have almost 1,000 people, so that makes me happy. And of course, several people watching in the Radar Omega app. Let me see how many people we got in there. 30 something it looks like. Excellent. If I were to predict the likelihood of anything exciting happening today, I would say it's like a 6.5 maybe. Yeah, it's extremely humid out here. Well, good. Some of the clouds are clearing out. Now it's getting a little bit of, we got some filtered sunshine, a little bit of haze. Yeah, I think we're gonna go take a drive and find something to eat. All right, let's go drive around. I'm bored. We'll just drive around town. Why not? It's only a couple gallons of gas wasted. Plus, I've been sitting here for a long time.
Chris, Eastern WI, said anyone got any soundings for WI? Chris, Eastern WI, said Central NEC.
Okay, so here we go. I don't want to run this girl on the bicycle over. We'll let her pass today. Indoor food trucks. That used to be a strip club. Now it's an indoor food truck. Whatever that is. Because it's a food truck they parked inside. That's kind of neat. People drive really, really aggressively through here too, so this will be an interesting stream probably. But right now we're just driving through because I don't see any targets right now, and I'm sick of sitting in one spot. So they're power washing all the water park equipment. of places to eat in this town, but they're all really gimmicky and expensive for like no reason.
I stopped to help him and, put air in it. Place the tire on my
Alright, so we'll actually go into the Dells here now. That was technically not the Dells, but whatever, it's just technicality.
We have a standby weather watch in progress. Currently there's no activity or any severe conditions in this area. However, we are prepared just in case. Relay stations may check in at any time. Any and all criteria will be accepted. This is WX9MKX at 332.
Yellow Thunder Amateur Radio Club Repeater WB.
God, it is hot out.
Z. The time is 3:35 p.m.
Here's where we get into the traffic nightmare right about now. Not too bad so far. Problem is there's so many bicyclists and everything, and the bike lane is so narrow that when people park on the side of the street, they're like half in the bike lane all the time, and then people are riding their bikes down the middle of the road, and it's just a mess.
CSW Mobile Monster and Yellow Thunder, over.
Alright, we can turn around now. That was boring. That's about it. Like, maybe stop and get something to eat downtown here or whatever, but I really don't want to deal with the parking nightmare. There is nothing happening. Look at a little data quick. Thanks for watching, regardless. Let me pull up another radar site here and just verify what's going on with. The little rain shower is near Watoma. But that's nothing to even care about at this point. Okay. We'll head back the way we were coming from. Yeah, there's just nothing happening yet. A little early. Models, convective models, were showing possible storm initiation right around 3 or 4 p.m. So, and it's right now around 3 or 4 p.m. So I would still expect something here shortly. I expect this to be a little bit of an earlier event than a later event like we've had so much of lately. Lately we've had so many of these late evening into overnight events. Yeah, we definitely got some capping in place still. Eventually that should erode. go back the way we came, I guess.
WA4ORM 375 relay. This WX9MKX. WA4ORM.
Some development down there in northeast Iowa. Definitely need to watch that. Get out of town, I think, for right now. Or go toward getting out of town anyway. Because I could see us possibly seeing some development real soon. I think I'm going the right way. It's been a while. Storm there in the northeast Iowa. It's approaching Prairie du Chien. We could go down and probably catch that somewhere near like Soldiers Grove or Richland Center. Oh boy. Hello. Yeah. He's gonna have to call a tow truck. He's screwed. They might not. Some places won't mount a donut. Like I don't think Walmart will. A tire place would, but I know a lot of places won't. A lot of places don't stock a donut. Yeah, because you can't put a regular tire on that. My advice as a mechanic, I would definitely call a tow truck like 2 hours ago, because somebody's more apt to have a rim or be able to go to a junkyard, you know. I mean, it sounds like they should. Do they just not want to call a tow truck, or what's their problem? I would advise he calls a tow truck, because they might have a junkyard or something they can go to. No, definitely not. Not on that. Not unless you find a tire shop. If the valve stem's missing out of the donut, then something was wrong, and the tire's either overheated or... General direction of Reedsburg. I'm not really sure why. Plus, if that's northeast Iowa, does toward us. Really no good direct route down to southwest Wisconsin. It's a lot of back roads, at least from here. Yeah, the storm in northeast Iowa is really starting to convect. It's moving more northeast than I thought, though. What are storm motions today? Probably need to find that out ASAP. Relatively slow-moving storms today. Makes them easier to chase.
WB9FDZ repeater. Tonight, Aries Racing meeting at 7:30.
Going through a giant, well, at least a moderate-sized cell phone dead zone up here shortly. Yeah, that storm there in northeast Iowa. It's south of Decorah, west of Prairie du Chien. Model HRRR convective allowing model was showing that as a possible thing happening. So I think we'll head over to Reedsburg and then just stop and wait, get gas. That way we've got a little bit of a head start. Because these storms are relatively slow movers today, I'm going to want to be able to get on them relatively quickly. Relatively small, but echo tops are starting to peak around 38,000 feet or so. The storm is getting taller and strengthening. It's about 2 hours, well, I'd say it's roughly about 2 hours away from us right now, but it's coming at us, so gotta keep that in mind too. It is the only thing on radar right now, and that area over there does seem to have less of a cap in place. So I would kind of expect that storms to develop over extreme southwest Wisconsin, northeast Iowa, and move off to the east-northeast across the tornado watch area. Something to do, I guess, and that does put us a little bit closer. should this storm be something that we need to go after. But I do think that the cap is starting to erode. Could be I'd actually be all right if today was a total bust, because I'd start heading west and would be able to actually have a couple of minutes to breathe for a change. But I think we're going to be entering a slow pattern here. Not sure why this guy's not going. There we go. I think after Thursday, I think we're going to have probably at least 5 to 6 days of slow weather. There's a lot of storm chasers and weather enthusiasts out there that literally have done nothing but post all over social media about how severe weather is done. We're not going to see any storms for months. We're going to get a death ridge and high pressure and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. A lot of these people say this every single year. It's the mid-May crisis. It's just like a midlife crisis. Right in the middle of May, models start showing, you know, high pressure ridging and blah, 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 and heat waves. And, you know, you don't need a trough to have severe weather. You can have outflow boundaries, you can have northwest flow events in the Midwest. But a lot of times, models show this and then it doesn't happen. Last year, everybody was saying the season was shut down and there weren't even going to be as much as a single rain shower anywhere in North America for months, and we still had tornadoes every couple of days last May and June. So I wouldn't buy into that. And the reason that's not good is because that would also indicate drought, but I wouldn't buy into it. I think we're going to get busy again here, but I do believe that we are going to have at least 4 to 6 days of downtime, it looks like. Probably should actually stop here and make sure we have enough gas. Go park out of the way for a second though so we can look at a little bit of data. Park right here for just a minute. Look at some stuff here. Okay, so tornado watch remains in effect. I'm looking at some mesoanalysis data right now here, see where the more favorable environment is. Okay, so right now it looks like capping is a bit of the issue. I don't know if that storm that's near West Union, which is south of Decorah, northeast Iowa, I don't know if that one's going to get through the cap or not. It looks like it is, but it's struggling. Yeah, we may want to head over toward somewhere south of La Crosse. Probably best so to sit here for just a little bit and watch, because we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. This storm could end up dying, and then we would end up needing to find another one and just be backtracking. So thanks for staying with me, everybody. Support's always appreciated. Cape is most plentiful in northeast Iowa, southwest Wisconsin. Still very warm here. We are sitting at 87 over 69. 87 degrees out, 69 degree dew point. Of course, you can see that live weather data in the Radar Omega app, so we're streaming there also. Something might happen though. It might not. Never know. But again, I appreciate everybody who's been watching. It amazes me that we've got like 1,000 people with nothing happening. So thank you for, of course, doing that, because simply viewing supports the channel. It's becoming really expensive out here. The price of gas has really made this tough. Well, I guess not made it tough, but it's made it more challenging. You just gotta be careful and mindful of your budget. I'm probably gonna run inside and grab something to drink. Definitely started the stream about 2 hours too early, but that's okay. No going back now. I think if today is a total bust, I might run to an auto parts store at like 6 or 7 if it's a bust. And I think I've got a wheel bearing in the back that needs replaced. Can't tell which side it's coming from though. Maybe it's the diff, who knows, but it's just barely there and it drives me nuts. And with the sheer amount of miles we put on these vehicles every day, when something has a hint of going wrong, it's best to just replace it. And a wheel bearing, a hub assembly is like $120, and it's like 30 minutes of my time. So it's easier to just replace than to have something break. And I don't mind doing that. I plan on doing that on Friday or Saturday, but if today turns out to be a bust and we end up ending the stream early, that's probably what I'll do. And then head west towards Sioux Falls. Yeah, thanks for the super chats in there. The price of gas here isn't too bad. We're down at $3.83. That's much better than it was. It was really high in Minnesota. You get really good when you're driving around all these places at knowing how gas prices are doing in different spots. And Iowa's a little bit high depending where you're at. Minnesota's high in general. Wisconsin's higher farther south. Illinois is ridiculous. Believe it or not, Texas is kind of high. So it kind of helps to be mindful of that because, for example, if I have to drive through Illinois, I'll get gas before I drive through there. We're in Reedsburg, Wisconsin right now. It's northwest of Madison. Nothing happening yet, but we do have a tornado watch in effect. So we're watching for tornadoes and not seeing any. Pretty slow today. Minnesota, yeah. It'll be western Minnesota and the eastern Dakotas tomorrow and then Thursday as well. The only thing I have on the agenda that's not chasing is I'm going to stop and get my tires put on. I'm going to try to do it tomorrow morning, otherwise I'll have to do it Thursday morning in Sioux Falls. Either way, it should work out because it's in the target area. Got some really nice tires. I was going to put KO2s on it, on this thing, and it was going to be awesome. But the problem with KO2s is they don't do very well in the rain. All-terrain tires have a little bit higher tendency of hydroplaning. So I got a Firestone weather ready, whatever the hell it is, tire. They're expensive tires, like $280 a piece, but they're worth it. Kind of a hybrid between a highway terrain and an all-terrain. It's supposed to be really good in the water, and that's kind of the biggest concern is hydroplaning when you're out here. So the biggest concerns or priorities for tires for me are typically hydroplaning resistance, tread wear, and then after that it's, you know, non-pavement traction. Yeah, it's about $70 to fill this thing up, but I think it's got a 22-gallon tank, something like that. It's not too bad. I mean, it could be a lot worse. Advantages of a bigger tank, though, you can go farther without filling up. But yeah, thanks for all the super chats, everybody. When we're sitting here, I actually notice them, but when I'm driving, a lot of times I miss them, but they're always appreciated. Get the wheel bearing replaced. I hope it's a wheel bearing and not like the rear differential or something, because it sounds like it's coming from both sides, so it could be, but either way. It wouldn't be the first time I rebuilt a rear end on something, so either way, it's very minor. In fact, it could actually be tire noise. That's kind of why I was pushing getting the new tires. The tires that are on here are very worn down all-terrains. They're Goodyear whatever, Goodyear something. They're the sport. They're not even really an all-terrain. They're a sport tire with like an all-terrain pattern on it. And they're pretty wore down, and I think that might be where the noise is coming from. So a lot of times you get these tires with the aggressive tread patterns. When they start to get really worn, they grind and growl and make all sorts of road noise. So that very well could be it. But the advantages of being able to work on your own vehicle is pretty much what's keeping us, or what kept me afloat there for a while. Because if you imagine all the miles a person puts on a vehicle storm chasing, just simply on maintenance, you'd go broke. Even if you bought a brand new car, you'd be at 100,000 miles in a year, and something would be going wrong. I mean, I can buy the part and put it on, and it takes me a couple hours of my time, so it's definitely not a big deal. So even when I can't afford it, Even though I can't afford taking it somewhere, I try to do it myself because you can save a lot of money doing it yourself. I had to talk down one of the Ford dealerships this morning. Took the vehicle for an oil change because I'm not home and it needs an oil change, and I just didn't want to deal with it because I'm not home. I really didn't want to do it in a parking lot and have to deal with disposing of the oil. So I took it to a Ford dealership because I got those express lanes or whatever, and I went through there, and the guy's like, well, it's going to be $69.99. I looked at him, I said, are you kidding me, for a freaking oil change? And he's like, yeah. And I said, well, what happened to the $29.99 special you had on the sign? He's like, well, that's for conventional. And I said, you put conventional in it. And he checks his paperwork, and he's like, well, yeah, but we put 6 quarts in. That's only for 5 quarts. And I'm like, so you're telling me that's like a $30 to $40 quart of oil you put in there? And he's like, well, if it's above 5 quarts, it's a different package. I said, so why don't you just charge me for the extra quart of oil? Because a quart of oil, they put Motorcraft oil in it, so it's just Citgo oil. But even the Motorcraft name on it, it's $5 anywhere, $5 quart. Like, so charge me for the extra quart. And he was kind of like surprised that I'd asked him that, and I'm like, I'm not going to pay like $70 for an oil change, dude. That's ridiculous. Like, especially after you have $30 on your sign. So his manager came out, and I'm like, I don't mean to be a jerk, but like, come on. And he's like, well, we've never had anybody argue about it. I'm like, well, you never had anybody argue about $70 to change oil? You can go to Walmart and get 5 quarts of oil for $15 and an oil filter for $6. I mean, in 20 minutes of your time, come on. So I thought that was ridiculous. That actually kind of disappointed me. And it was too bad because the guy that was changing the oil was super, super nice. It was the service advisor that wasn't very nice. He was, he took his air hose and blew out all the dust out of the motor, and he was, had a soapy washcloth, and he was wiping everything down in there because it's all dusty and stuff, and did a very honest thing, I thought. He took my air filter out, and it was a little dirty, and he blew it out with the air hose. So instead of trying to sell me an air filter, he just blew it out, and I thanked him for that. I said that was actually very polite and very honest of him to do, because a lot of these places that do oil change will just be like, oh, your air filter's dirty, here's a new one, and it's going to be $60 because, you know, we've got a $40 markup on it. So I thought that was very nice of him. But the service advisor, I'm just like, you're kidding me, $70. The extra quart didn't charge cost $30 to $40. I will take my vehicle. There is one oil change, like quick oil change place that I will take it to. I won't take it to chain oil change places just because I really don't. It's not that I don't trust. Well, I don't trust them. It's not that they're shady. A lot of them are good, but they're apples. You know, they say they change your oil, but they don't, or they don't put the drain plug back in. There is one in my hometown that I'll go to, and it's $34.99 for 6 quarts of oil, and I can't beat that because it's going to cost me $20 to $20 for oil and a filter. So the extra $10 to have somebody else do it and not have to deal with the mess is worth it. But they're really good. They do an excellent job. Yeah, that's why I always tell people, just change your own oil. That's why a lot of storm chasers that are having a hard time making it, that are complaining that they're running out of funds and stuff, I'm always like, you got to do your own car maintenance. And if you don't know how to do your own car maintenance, you need to learn, because that's a huge expense that you can remove from the budget. $80 for an oil change? That is ridiculous. There's a lot of money to be made in car repair. That's why I also don't go to chain places. I always try to go to smaller places. The town that I live in, it's pretty common to see $110 labor rate. All the dealerships are $125 an hour. But a lot of the smaller places are like $100, $110. But there's one shop in town, and he's always busy, and he does some of the best work. And he's fast, and he can always get you in. And he's $89 for a labor rate. So you can imagine why he gets all the business. It's a lot of money to be made in car repair. A lot of it's well-deserved, because a lot of times there's a lot of work that goes into simple things. Speaking from experience, but sometimes it's a little bit ridiculous. A lot of times the mechanics don't get paid fairly. A lot of these dealerships that run on flat rate. It's kind of similar to, you know, a wait staff working on tips almost, a brake job. But they might get screwed because, you know, they have a broken bolt and they have to spend their whole day extracting it, and then they make, you know, diddly squat that day, and that's just not right. Oh yeah, he gave it to me for the $30. He didn't even charge me for the extra quart. Because I was trying to be polite with him, and he was just not being polite. Like, this guy just like didn't want to deal with it. I don't know what his problem was. The guy changed the oil, was super nice. It was a service advisor that wasn't, but he was just like upset that I was asking about it. Like your sign says $30. That's why I told you That's why I told you just throw the conventional in it, because there's really not much of a reason for me to run synthetic, because this oil gets changed like every 2 weeks, just like clockwork. Every second Friday or every second Saturday almost, it gets changed just because of the amount of miles. So it almost just makes more sense to just run the cheap oil and just cycle through it. But yeah, he ended up giving it to me for the price, and I told him I wasn't trying to be rude. It was just kind of silly, you know. As somebody who used to be a mechanic, I'm like, I can't justify spending an extra $30 to $40 because I took 6 quarts of oil instead of 5. I told him he could out a quart of oil, pump a quart. Didn't think it was funny. I thought it was funny, and I said it as a joke, but he's like, well, you can't do that, and he's going off. Special weather statement just popped up on Radar Omega. 280,000 miles on an 05 Escape. I believe it. Those things run forever. Special weather statement did pop up for that storm in northeast Iowa. It's approaching Prairie to Sheen. Right now, that's the only cell that I see that's of any interest. Storm does have strong echo tops, though, or increasing echo tops. Here, let me pull up radar. I know it cycles through on the screen, but let's see. Well, Radar Omega's up right now, so you can see that small storm there, northeast Iowa. It's got a special weather statement on it. Just means that it could have some gusty winds and maybe some very small hail. Yeah, I think we're finally getting our convective development. Alright, I'm gonna run in and get something to drink. I'm gonna leave the car parked here though. So I will be back in a couple minutes. Still nothing nothing noteworthy, but let me check this over, see if anything changed in the past 5 minutes. Tornado watch does remain in effect, though. That storm in Iowa there is right over top of Alcator almost. Looks like it's really 2 updrafts almost. But lots of lightning. Just really doesn't look too impressive yet. That could be our event starting though. Very well could be. There's one severe thunderstorm warning way up north. North of Antigua, Wisconsin for Crandon, south of Eagle River. I see the mentions about Discord. If you're unfamiliar, there is a Discord server. Do have a Discord server. The link I think is in the description. Let me show you the big picture. So this is with the glare, Radar Omega running on desktop or laptop. This is just the MRMS. So this is a low resolution national composite of radar. You can see our storm here in northeast Iowa in basically kind of lower definition. The MRMS composite, when the national radar composite gets put together, is basically a lower resolution version of all of the radar sites combined. If you want to look at higher resolution radar and really see what's happening with quicker updates, you would switch to the local radar site. But the advantage using the national composite is I can just zoom way out and look all over without having to change radar sites. You see a severe thunderstorm watch, which a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in the Texas Panhandle,
Wisconsin/Michigan state line south of Marquette.
and in the Texas Big Bend area. Thanks for the super chats in there, everybody. How does one see the national composite? It depends if you're on desktop or phone. Long story short, you have to go into the menu, and then where it says like radar, click on. Looking at the latest HRRR run, which I don't. It does show that storm convecting in northeast Iowa and through southwest Wisconsin. Trying to look at a couple of things here and see if that still looks plausible. We are still measuring, is that right? 90 degrees, is that right? Yeah. We are measuring 90 degrees with a dew point of 67.3. That is hot.
Said cross-section of the WI/LS mainline score. Sunhail Coralon.
We'll probably drive around here in a minute, just for fun. That storm looks like it is really struggling. Man, we have got some capping issues, I think. think we're gonna go just a little bit, well, maybe we'll go to the other side of Reedsburg and sit and waste a little more time. Driving, then have the storm, not do anything. And then something back here do something. So I want to wait and see if this thing matures at all before we go after it. See exactly how long of a drive it is from here to Richland Center. Road network here in southwest Wisconsin is not ideal for storm chasing. All the roads are like just all over the place. Well, I guess let's start heading that way, and then we'll just like pull over on the side of the road somewhere and just stare at the clouds for a while. I don't want to go all the way down to Prairie du Chien, which is where that storm's coming into, but it does look like it's intensifying, or at least trying to intensify. I mean, it's the most promising I've seen a storm look in this area at all. Let's just give it a shot. Nothing else is happening, you know what I mean? I hope this is the right way. Yeah, it's the right way. storm's got a special weather statement on it again. Roads are terrible in a lot of the Midwest. Saw that comment in there. It's like it seems like everywhere in the Midwest is really bad. I just feel like it's just so common up here to, like, you know, throw a little tar and a little gravel on it and call it good. Never really fix the road. I don't know. Yeah, I think we'll start making our way southwest. That storm's isolated. It's surviving. The cap isn't taking it down. You know what I mean? Like, it seems to be through the cap. It's struggling to get its act together, though. But it's persistent. So I think that's probably an okay target at this point. Still monitoring central Wisconsin, even, you know, from like La Crosse to Madison area for new development as well. If something starts developing there, we may turn around. Going through Richland Center. We may actually end up getting this storm somewhere in northern Grant County, which is absolutely awful chase terrain. Well, actually, no, not really. It's actually not that terrible down there. It's not that terrible. It's not really the terrain, it's the trees. You know, you get like right here, you know, you can't see anything. It's like chasing down south. Got a new camcorder in the vehicle. It's pretty awesome. It's a Canon XA40. It's awesome. It was actually sent to us by a partner of ours. Well, the camera, the money to buy it was sent with intent for a project by a partner of ours. And I went and purchased that the other day. I was hoping that we'd be able to try it out, but haven't really had anything to try it out with. I used to film all content on an iPhone, which is great, but it's kind of tricky with tornadoes because sometimes a tornado from more than half a mile away is kind of boring on video, especially in the middle of nowhere. You know, it's just a cone. It's basically a cloud touching the ground. It's kind of boring, so you really need to be able to zoom in. If you're not able to get right up next to it, you need to be able to zoom in and really see what's going on. Can't really do that with an iPhone. You can, you know, like the 13s, whatever, they have that 3x zoom, which is optical zoom, which is great. And then if you shoot in 4K, you can actually oversize, you can crop the video and basically get a 2x zoom on it. So you can get like a 6x zoom total, but that's just sometimes isn't enough. So plus we got nice external audio on it. I was really hoping we could try it out here one of these days. So I'm going to start filming content on an actual video camera now. And see what we can do. It's been a long time since I've actually filmed our content on a video camera. When I first started, I did that. It wasn't very good when I first started, so I got rid of it. Started using my iPhone again. But so we're gonna see what we can produce with this. On Thursday, northeast, well, maybe. I mean, northeast Nebraska's definitely under the gun right now. Especially the eastern Dakotas, I think, is going to be the hot zone. But it's just a little too early to tell right now, I think. We'll know more by about this time tomorrow. Sunday driver. That's okay, we're not in a big hurry. The storm's really struggling again. Reflectivity's come down on this again. I don't know what to think of this little cell. Sunday drive.
Chris, Eastern WI, said so beautiful. Wish we were up there. Norman Smith, Racine OH, said LP heading to Green Bay. CDR looks great.
Could be making a huge mistake. Central Wisconsin could start to go. It's a crapshoot. On these low end days, it's really a crapshoot. You just never know. Like I said, keeping an eye on it on radar as we go this direction. I'm
Chris,
ready to flip
Eastern
around if
WI,
needed.
said doesn't look like much on reflectivity.
Cells up there in northeast Wisconsin, they do look relatively healthy. I don't really like to chase up there unless I absolutely have to because there's just too many trees. It's a pain. If that was the only target today, we would be up there, but definitely not. echo tops or the storm height on that storm that's between Elkader, Iowa, and Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin are really intensifying. They're about 50,000 feet. The storm's got a strong updraft. It just doesn't look very impressive on radar. Or on reflectivity, rather. Cell is just really acting strange. It's just really struggling. It looks terrible on radar, but it's persistent. Storm up there near Appleton and Green Bay. It's isolated and discrete. That could be an interesting one. Probably should be up on that. Strange day. Farming up here. All right, so we are still under a tornado watch for most of Wisconsin. We're headed down into southwest Wisconsin, probably northern Grant County. Maybe to catch a storm, maybe not. I don't know. The most interesting thing on this stream all day might be that cloud right there. I don't know. We're probably making a mistake. I wouldn't be surprised now if like central Wisconsin, like near Baraboo or the Dells, goes off, because that would be about our luck. Usually things happen when we leave a target, but I just can't justify, especially with a live stream going, sitting there where nothing's happening when there's at least something happening down this way. Thanks everybody who's done the super chat and the PayPal thing. That's always appreciated. I see some have come through. I miss them usually when I'm driving because they scroll past so quick. But trust me, they are appreciated. I think Minnesota. Oh yeah, we're speeding all right. 5 over. You can tell the issue with chasing in this part of the state. You can't see the horizon like at all. It's the terrain and the trees make it really difficult. Not a fan of chasing here. Warning for Picos, Texas. You've got to be kidding me. That's the other severe weather target today. Going down there, but I didn't want to miss day 3. Now it's day 2, but I didn't want to miss out on tomorrow because we wouldn't have been, we could have got down there if we would have drove last night. What would have happened is we would have had to basically sleep all day yesterday until the chase, which we could have done. But then once the storm chase started, we, be non-stop. We would actually be down in that target area right now if we would have drove from where I was last night and be back. Would have been down there like 2:33 p.m. or so. So we'd be down there for it, but wouldn't have been able to get back for tomorrow. And I don't want to miss tomorrow and the next day. Averaging 21.5 miles per gallon in this thing, and I am super happy because I used to get 17, and that extra 4.5 miles per gallon really adds up when you're driving 100,000 miles a year. I just checked, so that makes me happy. Yeah, the storm that's west of Appleton does look interesting. realistically, we probably should be on that one, but there's just no way we would make it.
James T. NW. Like to Chris. Eastern W. Still looks really good. Remember 8 times last year on meter of reflectivity and it was producing tornadoes.
There's lots of windy roads in this part of the state. Actually, not too far. Only about an hour and a half from where I live.
Said this was producing
As much as I would love to come home and see my family today, that is not going to happen because that would be an extra 3 hours round trip. Wouldn't make it in time for tomorrow. However, if these storms do end up in south central Wisconsin, we'll still be on them.
Chris. Eastern W. Said didn't talk about this.
Yeah, one down there near Prairie du Chien. 508 p. Why is my radar so backed up? Switch radar settings. Oh man, it looks terrible. Does not look very good. We actually might cancel and just start heading back the way we were from. I think the storm is dying.
August 9th, Prairie Meter.
We'll give it an extra 10 minutes and determine if this thing is dying or not. Because if it's dying, then there's no sense.
Chris. Eastern W. Said here.
Yeah, I'm not able to get a updated radar scan from the La Crosse radar site. I don't know why. I wonder if La Crosse radar is down. It's getting echo tops, but not reflectivity. That's really strange. Try something. There we go. Storm's looking more strung out, elongated. So we're near Richland Center right now. Headed toward Prairie du Chien. tops on this storm are coming down a little bit too. Should indicate that updraft's probably collapsing. Storm's taking a crap. This could be a cat bus today, I don't know. Well, it looks like actually there's some echo tops going up there near Black River Falls. We might need to turn around. Yeah, I wonder if we're in the wrong spot. I think we're gonna stop here for a minute and just watch radar trends, because I don't want to get buried in the southwest corner of the state if something else happens here. We'll find a spot to pull off, field driveway or something like that. Still hot. Pretty awful out. Alright, so we're in Richland Center now. Alright, looks like there might be a couple of places we can stop. Okay, we'll just stop here in Richland Center for a little bit, a couple of minutes. I really want to watch these radar trends. Yeah, this storm is collapsing. Interesting. Alright, well, we'll just watch the radar trends for a little bit. The reasoning behind that is we could still make it back up to where we were, like by the Dells, pretty quick. We're only about an hour away from there. So we could easily make it back up there. But I don't want to just drive back and forth all day. So it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to drive back there now and then this storm go nuts. But right now I don't see a reason to drive back up there. Thanks for the super chat. We'll see what happens here over the next 10-15 minutes. Let's keep an eye on these trends. Yeah, that little storm up there southwest of Green Bay near Appleton is kind of interesting. The latest HRRR runs have really backed down on today. Looking at satellite and everything here too. Trying to see if we can get some hints at what might happen. Alright guys, give me a couple of minutes here. I'm just looking over some
Jimmy S.
info.
Naperville, Illinois, replied to James T. NWO. Sycamore was an LP mini sub.
Also looking at some model data for tomorrow as well, trying to pinpoint a little bit better target. So, I'm about an hour and 20 minutes from my house. I was really debating on if this turns out to be a bust. Debating on going home. But that makes it really difficult to get west in the morning. So I don't think I can do that, unfortunately, but that's okay. New severe thunderstorm watch was issued. Let me see here. very small severe thunderstorm watch was issued for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 counties in Texas and the Oklahoma Panhandle, Cactus, Spearmint, Perryton, and Guyman, Texas and Oklahoma, for possible ping pong ball-sized hail later on. That just got issued. So our little storm down there that we're watching to the southwest, it's done. That thing is nothing, almost. Although there's a couple of little cells firing up there in west central Wisconsin. It might be time to go back north. All right. Let me see where a good spot to aim for would be. Road networks are not exactly a grid out here. I don't know if these storms are going to do any better, though. I think I found us a good route. Just real quick, see if there's been a mesoscale discussion or anything issued on this. Nope. Okay. Alright, we're gonna head back north. This storm's done. It's not gonna do anything. It's gone. Okay, let me get my phone charger fished out, and we'll get moving north. Head up back toward like the Baraboo area, and possibly farther north than that. I wouldn't imagine too much farther north because we're gonna start losing some daytime heating. Kind of figured this event would be starting to wind down by now, if it's even gonna happen. So. Okay. watch is still in effect. They haven't canceled it or anything yet. Let's see if that holds true. Yeah, we've got some capping issues. Am I by myself? I'm always by myself. I am a sole individual storm chaser. We're near Richland Center, Wisconsin. Going back north, probably done for the day, but just a little too early to make that call. Like we're just not going to get convection in like the southern half of the state for whatever reason. Capping issue or forcing problem, one of the two. But that could change. I mean, we've had several storm chases, even just this year alone, where it's looked like it was going to be total bust, and then all of a sudden we get a decent storm. Kind of surprised. I didn't think that today was going to end up like this. I thought we would for sure at least have a couple of cells, like in that southern third of the state. storm there in northeast Iowa that we've been watching is it's now officially gone. Like, it's not even on radar at all anymore. A couple of little radar echoes popping up there, like north of Baraboo near Steven, kind of west of the Stevens Point area. They're even struggling with the cap now. Everything's struggling. Once we get up to 94, the interstate there, we'll stop. I don't want to just shut everything down. I do want to monitor this just in case something is to happen. So far today's been a giant bust, which is of course good, but man, something could change though at the last minute. It would not be the first time that's happened. isolated right now. Sky's got kind of a stable look to it too, so. Yeah, we had a pretty unstable atmosphere here today. I'm really actually surprised that we weren't able to at least get a storm or two. Yeah, this is the reality of storm chasing. It's just a lot of driving around. Tomorrow looks fairly volatile. I think there's several failure modes. I don't know what they are yet, but I think there's several failure modes with tomorrow. So I think tomorrow's a little bit conditional. It's definitely a greater chance than today. Thursday's probably going to be the bigger day. And then, like I said, I think we'll have some downtime. I've got a lot of maintenance to do, just minor details and stuff. Things to do with the car and logistic kind of things. Stuff on the back end to do, so hopefully get that done. Yeah, so I'm going to probably shut the stream down at 6:30 unless something's happening. Of course, if something did start to happen after I shut it down, I would turn it back on. But I really think that might be about it for today. I am very surprised. There is still a small cell. It's isolated, and it is chugging along there near Green Bay. It's southwest of Green Bay. It's very small though. Like it looks like it's having a tough time. It's near New London, north side of Appleton. I mean, it's persistent, but man, it looks like garbage. once again, into the Radar Omega app as well, a tool that we rely on heavily out here myself. It's a cheap purchase from the App Store. Download it for desktop. It does set live telemetry, like our weather telemetry, right into the app. 8.8. Wisconsin's been getting it. The convective inhibition hasn't been that big of a deal up there, I don't think. But the capping problem, whatever, they got convective initiation up there, so they actually got storms to fire. If we could have actually got storms to fire and sustain themselves down here, that could have been a similar deal as to what's going on up there. But down here, it just didn't happen. I didn't want to go up there because northeast Wisconsin is miserable chasing terrain, all the trees and everything. Really don't go up there unless you have to. That tornado video from the Ford City, Texas tornado, the one that we just drove into the other day, that is up on the YouTube page. Mentioning that video's been doing really good. It's been getting a lot of views, so that's excellent. Thunderstorm warning in Texas. It's for southeastern Palmer, southern Castro, and Lamb counties until 6:45 p.m. Central in Texas for 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's ridiculous.
In a quarter mile, turn left to stay on Wisconsin 58 North, Wisconsin 58 Trunk North.
That is just ridiculous. Well, thanks for the super chat. I'm happy to bring everybody along. Glad we started live streaming back in... God, when did I start live streaming? I think it was back in October of last year.
Take the next left to stay on Wisconsin 58 North, Wisconsin 58 Trunk North. Continue on Wisconsin 58 North for 4 miles.
hours. Holy crap. Jeez.
Chris, Eastern W1, flying to anywhere like Madison, Wisconsin. Actually, from WHQT I saw there was barely any CO.
Yeah, we'll stay live for just a little bit, at least till we get to the interstate.
Anywhere like Madison, Wisconsin. Flying to Chris, Eastern W1, heads, see I failed.
Man, it is still hot and humid out here. It's gonna be this way in parts of the Midwest here for a couple of days. But it is transitioning into the summer season here, so I guess, what do you expect? I had kind of a weird spring. It's been so cold here in the Midwest. Unbearably cold for quite a while.
Said so we didn't have enough surface-based trigger.
Right. Yeah, we've been through this area. Turn the GPS off. We'll just head up through Laval, Laval. Just tend to use the Radar Omega program to actually navigate more than I do Google Maps anymore. With this, it's got the street level view on it, so I actually just zoom way in, and that's kind of my navigation now. I trust it more than Google Maps. Not a big fan of Google Maps.
Jake Bell, also in said I'd be watching the cell green.
Yeah, that storm up near Green Bay, that's really the only one that's got my eye. We would never make it, but even that one's going to struggle eventually, I think. I don't think it's going to do anything too noteworthy. They're dealing with the same issues. I think it's forcing or lack of forcing at the surface. Probably the same issue up there.
Andy Werlo, Madison, Wisconsin, said out of my range and up in the woods.
Settle up near Green Bay. Yeah, it doesn't really have any rotation on it, but it is a decent looking storm. So Daniel Shaw's up there. If he gets any good photos. It could be pretty. Be a good storm to launch a drone on.
Chris, Eastern W1, said most of the cap is where those subs went.
Stop. Accept right turn. I always have to call that out because otherwise somebody freaks out and says I blew the stop sign and said accept right turn. So we turned right, so we didn't stop. Happens every time. almost up to Boston. I mute the audio here when I take a phone call that I don't want spewed all over the internet. Once we get up to Boston, I'm going to shut the stream down. Nothing's happening. Nothing is happening. At least in this area. So everybody that did the super chats, the PayPal, whatever, thank you. It goes directly toward, streaming costs and fuel costs, because it is expensive to bring these live. So I appreciate everybody that does that, and of course thanks to everybody who simply watched the video, because that obviously helps us too. The more viewers, the better. Thanks to everybody that's been watching us at Radar Omega. It's definitely an awesome deal we've got going on with them here, getting our video and weather data streamed into there. So in about 10 minutes here, we'll probably be shutting the stream down, or however long it takes me to drive. It might be longer than that. I don't know, whatever. Well, however long it takes to get from here to Boston. How about that? I'll be live again tomorrow, probably in the afternoon. I'm headed towards Sioux Falls, South Dakota. See if I can get these tires slapped on in the morning. The tires on this vehicle are okay, but they're certainly not great. It's pretty serious hydroplaning issues with them. They're just worn down. It's time for new ones. That prevented them, or maybe just lack of forcing. Either way, we were lacking something today. The atmosphere was relatively unstable though, so I can understand why they put that tornado watch out. It's definitely warranted. Storm that's up near Green Bay. It's still moving along. It's not that impressive though. It's dumping some small hail though. Texas Panhandle, there are some severe thunderstorm warnings down there. I can't really pay a whole lot of attention to it because I'm driving, but I do know that there's some high-end severe thunderstorm warnings down there, mainly for wind. almost to the interstate, so I'm going to go ahead and shut down the stream. I'm going to leave the video feed up with audio muted though in Radar Omega, if you want to follow along. If something were to happen that we could chase, I will absolutely start the stream back up on YouTube. So thanks again, everybody. I do appreciate it. I might actually start the stream back up later tonight just to give an update on what's going on for tomorrow once I look at some data. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to cut the YouTube feed here in just a moment. But appreciate all the help. Like I said, the super chats, the PayPal thing, everything everyone's contributed tonight is always helpful. Helps keep everything afloat and keep the live streams free and prevents us from putting it behind a paywall or anything. So thank you. And we will be back over the next couple of days here for more live storm chasing. So take care.